when we come at this segment, I just want to say we're not coming at this from a place of animosity or malice. We don't have a dog in this fight, but it's one of those uncomfortable topics that here at the Vanguard as news media people, and particularly what we like to call the watchdogs of new media. This is a story that I think we have to cover because it's, it's a good way of analyzing people's news habits. And also just a really good way to, what's a good way to piss off your audience is to try and shove something that you haven't really built into your model down their throats for the obvious reason that, somebody's channel isn't necessarily doing that great anymore.
As you guys may have been paying attention to, the Breaking Points channel has been posting some secular talk clips on their main show. I'll share my screen right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm sure you're familiar with this if you are subscribed to Breaking Points on YouTube. So here you can see this is a clip. Liberal brainworms. Bill Maher calls Trump Putin's boyfriend, the Kyle Kulinski show. And as you can see here, they have this little pre-recorded intro.
Hey guys, Kyle Kulinski is letting us post some of the clips from his channel that we think you guys will really love in the Breaking Points community on our channel.
Yep, let's get to it.
So Bill Maher.
Saagar seems so enthused about this.
I know, right? That's the first thing. Obviously, Saagar doesn't exactly seem particularly thrilled about the notion, but who knows? I mean, that's just, that who knows? Maybe he doesn't care at all. Who knows? But the funny thing is that if you scroll down a little bit, it's basically comment after comment of people expressing their dissent. And this isn't the first time this has happened. This has also happened on pretty much all the other videos that have been posted to the Breaking Points channel that are just straight up secular talk videos. And I'll remind you guys that this is a video that was already posted on Kyle's channel too. This isn't a Breaking Points exclusive video. This is basically just a double dip. They're repeating the upload. Kyle already uploaded this onto his channel. It got views, etc. And now they are putting it on the Breaking Points channel as well. So let's look at some of these comments. This one says Marshall gets the likes, Kyle gets the comments. Game Poop says Krystal is breaking Kyle's point. That's funny. Giving us Kyle Kulinski clips really diminishes the quality of this channel. So that's a pretty serious pretty serious comment. It got 56 upvotes. Todd says, is it because Kyle is your boyfriend, Krystal? And that is a little bit unfair in my opinion, because Kyle's been a regular on Rising and then Breaking Points even before he was dating Krystal Ball. So I think they've always just been kind of a good match politically. And that's, why they platform him on the channel. So I don't know if it has anything to do with the romantic relationship necessarily. But this is a prevailing sentiment as well among the audience. We'll see some more examples of that in a second. Again, here's another example of that. Breaking Points turns to act like mainstream media hiring their families. So again, that has 32 upvotes. Pretty damning. This says, I love Breaking Points, but this was just replaying someone else's channel with no value added by Breaking Points, a channel that was just commenting on content from yet another channel. While Brooks's comment was objectively true and indeed corroborated by sources, Kulinski just espouses opinion based on nothing more than his opinion. At least he was right to call out the bad NATO misspelling. I'm a fan of the show, but copy-paste journalism isn't up to your standards.
Yeah, leave that to the Vanguard, guys. You're getting in our niche.
Exactly. Let's keep going though, because if you can believe it, it doesn't stop there. This says Kyle's the kind of guy that reads all of MSN's talking points and propaganda, then tries to formulate nuances derived from false narratives and corporate propaganda in an attempt to show you he knows what he's talking about. However, he consistently gets it wrong, and that has 56 upvotes. So again, whew, that's pretty brutal if I do say so myself. And yet another one. If I wanted to hear Kyle be smug, condescending, and speculative, I would watch his channel. Hang in there, Saagar. And this is another repeated theme I see, is that a lot of people in this comment section, they kind of seem to be here for Saagar. It seems like they're tolerating Krystal or they like Krystal, but they're really here for Saagar. And that's kind of why they're annoyed by some of Kyle's takes and what they describe as condescending, smug, liberal takes, stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it does not stop. Saagar feeling like a third wheel since Kyle has moved in on Breaking Points. I will say that one's a little bit unfair too, because it's not like Kyle's in the actual Breaking Points videos for the most part. Mostly it's just Krystal and Saagar on a day-to-day basis. That's what the majority of their clips feature. And then it's just every once in a while, or maybe once a week or so, that they drop Kyle in there. So again, pretty harsh stuff, but I guess that's how people are feeling. This one has 164 upvotes. Krystal, stop pushing Kyle, 73 upvotes. We can go on if you guys want. Kyle's becoming the Tim Pool of Breaking Point. The smugness is just dripping. Again, we can go on and on. Here's one that says, I love Kyle, I love Breaking Points, but am I the only one that feels this cross promo stuff is unnecessary? Just leads to redundancy in the feed. And this one probably I agree with the most, because I also like Kyle Kulinski. Obviously, I don't agree with everything he says. He's not above criticism, that's for sure. But I will say that I don't mind Kyle, and I like when he's actually on the panel. What I do think is unnecessary is just posting pre-existing secular talk clips on the Breaking Points channel, because I already watched this Kyle clip. When I clicked on this on the Breaking Points channel, I got about a minute in before I realized, oh wait, I've already seen this video. I watched it on Secular Talk's channel a few days ago. So yeah, I agree that it is redundant, as this comment pointed out. But what's your take on all this, Zach? Do you think this is kind of unfair, or do you think that they have a point here?
No, I'm actually going to be less soft on Kyle than you just were, by a bit. By a big margin, actually. Like, I think that some people here are definitely, like, falling on the Saagar kind of the side of the equation. So I could see that you would be a little irked by this. But if we're being honest and transparent, like, you don't see a lot of Krystal haters come out when you see Marshall Kosloff pop up. And I feel like that's probably the counterbalance that they've agreed on. It's like, yes, you have the KKF podcast, I have the Realignment podcast, so you want to put your boyfriend Kyle on our show, I guess that's fair. I'm gonna put my homeboy on the podcast, and then we're gonna fucking even it out. That's fine. I mean, it's their fucking show, they can do whatever they want. Let's say that the first way to trigger me and Gavin is when the chat tries to tell us how to do our show. So if this ever does make it to Krystal and Kyle, I wouldn't be pissed off if they were unhappy with our coverage. That's their right to. But yeah, look, you're hurting your brand straight up. Like, if we want the tough love, Krystal, you're hurting your brand because you like Kyle and you see him failing and you think that he has good points to make, but he refuses to evolve. He refuses to do things that are necessary to stay relevant. He refuses to engage with his audience. He wants to be 2012 still, where you can monologue the same goddamn point every single day and still get 200,000 views on your video. It's never gonna happen. He's he basically does what Gavin and I do at this point, which is, but pretends to be really high and mighty about it. He reacts to videos that other people pretend, but like somehow we're like leeches on the bottom of the internet that like are not producing any value, and we're actually really destructive to this super awesome new media movement that he was a part of, that was super serious when he was just dunking on people who had religion. But now that it's people dunking on him, he has a problem about it. And not to get on my fucking hill about how these upper echelon level content creators, they love to shit on people who talk about them while they talk about the mainstream media. They have the exact same way of describing new media as mainstream, or the new media as MSNBC describes them. They don't take it seriously very much. They think that it's just bottom feeding. And yeah, well, Kyle built his whole career reacting to MSNBC and Fox News clips. I think it's a little hypocritical for him to get his panties in a wad when people react to his clips and give their take on his news coverage, when at one point he had a massive following. I mean, Gavin and I can show you the video if you guys don't believe us, because you might not, but a couple years back at Politicon, he had the longest fucking line there. It was massively long. And do you know what happened? His views got stale, guys. He stopped evolving. He started simping, and he just couldn't, he couldn't cut the mustard anymore. People were going to go to Krystal and Saagar for their serious kind of news, and people were going to go to Jimmy Dore / Sam Cedar for their, more incendiary, whatever, I'm in my niche kind of news. And then, the bottom feeders like us take out the rest. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So to take your homies failing channel, right? Because I mean, guys, to the standards that Kyle has, again, I call us bottom feeders because we don't have standards. We're happy to do this for a living. Kyle is bitching up a storm regularly about how his channel is failing, because he doesn't quite make that country club money anymore. I imagine he wants to spend his days golfing at his country club, doing his videos when he likes to, how he likes to. And the reality is that's just not going to be a formula for success anymore. You know, we'll speak up for him when he gets fucked. Like, I thought it was bullshit. He got banned from Twitter for like posting a boomer gif, literally a boomer gif. That was a fucking video clip from the 80s scanners. I'm almost positive that's what it was from. Anyway, this is all, it's just all a very bad move. Clearly Breaking Points is growing. I mean, that's not gonna devastate them to keep, you know, shuffling Kyle along and paying him some money probably to put his clips on their fucking channel to try and blow him up. I think he's still in that delusional phase where he thinks that this is the algorithm sucking him down, when in reality it's like the algorithm is sucking Krystal and Saagar down. They're just relevant enough and you know, lively enough, and people care about their fucking opinions enough right now to beat that algorithm, right? And you know, again, I'm not standing on a fucking high horse. Kyle's channel is infinitely bigger than ours. I personally wouldn't be bitching about my relevance if I was Kyle at the size of Kyle's channel, but I'm just telling you why he's not able to crack into that like upper echelon. Like, he wants to be, you know, as relevant as Hassan Piker. He wants to be as relevant as Krystal and Saagar and Jimmy
Vosh.
And Vosh. Yeah. Vosh spanks Kyle now, guys. Like, straight up spanks him. Okay, Destiny spanks Kyle now. All these people that Kyle came up with, he didn't get on the live stream bandwagon, guys. He refused to fucking go live, engage with the chat, build a community, be honest with people, rifle out the riffraff. He didn't want to do that work. He saw that Krystal and Saagar didn't have to do that work. They did it a different way. They made basically an MSNBC style show work independently. That's fine. That's a completely different ball game that they're in. You know, they're doing completely different things than the new media guys did, which is fine. And I think it diversifies us in our space, and it's all worthwhile. But I don't know. I think he really missed the boat when he didn't get on live streaming, but you know, I'm rambling.
I actually totally agree with that point. I think that Kyle really screwed himself over by not doing more live stream. He could just do his regular show, but live and kind of react to clips on screen the way we do. I think it would really help foster a different kind of engagement with his community, the kind that he's kind of suffering to build or failing to build right now in this post-Bernie Sanders era. And that's another interesting thing about this story is that, yeah, sure, people say Kyle has changed, and to some extent he has. I think there are areas where you can definitely point out Kyle kind of getting softer. It seems like some of the kind of edgy humor that used to define his personality has faded away. It seems like some of his anger against the duopoly, especially the Democrats, has kind of faded away. So there's no denying that he kind of has got softer. I think that's true. But I also think what this says is just that in the post Bernie Sanders era, there's a lot less hunger out there in general for the kind of commentary that Kyle Kulinski is doling out. I actually remember a quote from TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist. This is always stuck in my head. He said, in the post-Bernie era, the G-shucks populism of Kyle Kulinski is no longer in vogue. People have either been radicalized into Vosh's audience or Jimmy Dore's audience, one of the two extremes, and Kyle's just kind of in the middle of the road, unable to foster his own audience, his own defenders in the same way that those more aggressive, intense streaming personalities have been able to. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. That being said, again, no hate on Kyle necessarily. I think he does a pretty decent job. We're mostly giving constructive criticisms here. And I think this comment here that I highlighted from Devin is on point. It says, nobody wants to see Kyle on here unless it's original content for Breaking Points. And I totally agree with that. I actually think Kyle, offers an interesting perspective when he's actually on Breaking Point. So if they wanted to do a weekly segment where they bring Kyle into the studio, I think that would actually be great. And I don't think many people would care about it. In the same vein, I actually really like the segments they post on the channels from the Krystal Kyle podcast where they're talking to someone else. I think Kyle really does a good job when he's in conversation with other people, engaging with different viewpoints. What gets stale to me is listening to Kyle in his studio repeat the same monologue that he's been repeating now for 5 or 6 years ad nauseum, seemingly without ever changing it up. Like, again, constructive criticism here. Tough love, man. But you've been going for a while now, at least a decade now almost. You gotta change up some of the talking points.
14 years, dude. Almost 15 years.
Yeah, and sometimes I swear to God, you'll get to that 50% point in the video, and you'll be like, "Yep, here he goes down this rabbit hole again. I've heard this literally 100 times. And to be fair, we're a pretty young channel. We're not even 2 years old yet. So who knows, what the hell we'll be talking about in 6, 7, 8 years from now, if we're still doing this. Hopefully we are. Hopefully YouTube hasn't totally, squashed any sort of independent progressive media at that point. But assuming we're still around, obviously this is a problem we'll run into as well, because there's only so much opinion. There's only so much thought that can come out of one or two people's brains. Eventually you're bound to start repeating yourself. And I'm sure some of you regular listeners feel that way already, but you know what I'm saying? This is obviously a problem every commentator, deals with. It's just a matter of how you adapt to it. And I think that that's where Kyle, needs to adjust his strategy. He needs to start having on more people. He needs to start engaging with more people, going on other shows more, because right now he's kind of in an echo chamber. He doesn't really engage with all that many people that, push back on him a lot. With the one exception being Vosh, which is kind of ironic. So I think he could learn a lot from that. I think it's a great idea if he starts doing live streams. And again, I don't think there's any problem with him being on the Breaking Points channel. I just think it's kind of weird that they're just posting clips of him that are already existing on his channel, as if it's like some new exclusive content, when this is stuff we've already seen. So that's my issue.
Also, it just straight up feels like they are keeping him afloat, and that's not a good look. It's not a good look, guys. And that's the other thing that that's the elephant in the room that makes this all worse, right? Like, he shows up even routinely. Like, remember when they were on Rising and they used to have like Marshall and like occasional Democrat, and then like what's his name, Chuck Rocha, and like all those different guys from the Bernie campaign, and they would just have little panels on. I don't think anybody says a fucking word ever if you do a panel regularly, and Kyle's always one of those dudes on that panel, Marshall's always one of those dudes on that panel, and then it's like fucking curveball. One day it's Ryan Grimm, the next day it's fucking Kim Iverson. Like, not that they would, I don't know how they feel about those people because they host the Hill Show now, but anyway, that, you know what I'm saying? Like, heterodox ideas, let's all make everybody kind of contend in a round table with each other. That would make a great 18-minute clip about a news story, right? Like, you know what I mean? Even get some like crazies in there, like Robbie Swove, not that they're limited to whoever is currently working at their former employer, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just get some real conversation going. Then nobody says anything about Kyle's presence there. Have Mike Figueredo come in, have fucking other people from YouTube, kind of collaborate that way. That's really common with the higher level fucking streamers, right? Then you don't have to grovel to Vosh and embarrass yourself and pretend that he didn't lie and smear and slander the woman that you're supposedly in a relationship with, and also as your homie and your coworker and colleague and all that kind of shit. And just, you don't have to nuzzle up to that guy. Whatever. There's a lot of things going, but yeah, it just looks like they're propping him up, that he can't cut the mustard anymore, and that he needs the new relevant show to kind of like push him forward, right? Joe Rogan's not doing the reach for him that he used to. I guess that was another big plug that he had, was his asset, Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan's not making people's careers anymore. You go on the Joe Rogan podcast, it used to be like, whoa, dude, like you are going to see it just skyrocketing in numbers. Now there's a bump, but not as much ever since he went on Spotify. So it is what it is. I don't know. I just think that I just think that he's losing his relevance, that this is a bad move for Breaking Points, because it's so obvious what they're doing, that they're trying to help him out and keep his show relevant by shoving it down their audience's throats. And it's embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it is a little bit cringe, that's for sure. And I even pulled a couple Reddit posts as well. I'm a subscriber to the Breaking Point subreddit, and every once in a while I'll notice one of these pop up in my feed, which basically expresses the exact same sentiments that we just we're discussing. Longtime subscriber to Secular Talk, and have subbed to BP for nearly as long as they have been a channel. Kyle for all of his good points, and he is mainly an opinions man. He changed my outlook on a lot of things, etc., etc. But Breaking Points is a fact-based show, having Kyle's videos on the channel, which in itself is a repeat where Kyle reacts to a single source and that's his take, etc., etc. I like the idea that Breaking Points is a professional show with professional people who say professional things, etc., etc. So they're basically saying that Kyle doesn't really fit into the vibe of Breaking Points. A lot of people like Breaking Points because, again, like you said, Zach, it has that like MSNBC professional sheen to it. It feels like it's in a studio. It feels like they have access to, professional people and real politicians. And Kyle can kind of drag that down. Again, he has his own charms, his own talent.
To be fair, we're not professional at all, right? You know what I mean?
Fuck no. Yeah, we're like the opposite of the appeal of Breaking Points. We say the F word on stream and talk about, shit like this.
Some of you really bitch about how much we swear in emails to us. I'm like, wow, I'm never going to change how I speak, but I didn't even know that this was an issue for people until you sent me this really long email, and I've gotten multiples of them. I'm like, wow. They'll be like, Zach, you're so smart. Why do you say fuck all the time? Because I fucking want to.